Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Wheeling Village Board for October 19th, 2020. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Simpson, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Raffato?
Here.
President Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes of the joint workshop meeting of September 16th, 2020. I need a motion to approve the minutes for September 16th as presented.
So moved.
Give the motion to Trustee Vogel and the second to Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Raffato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, you also have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of October 5th, 2020. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee
second,
Lang?
Raffato.
Raffato? Okay.
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Raffato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Excellent. That brings us to appointments and confirmations. We have a candidate for the Board of Health, and I would like to make a motion to appoint as Commissioner Julie Ball to the Board of Health. If I could have a second.
No, could you call for the motion, please?
Said here, I mean,
It's your appointment. You call for the motion.
what he said. I need somebody to make the appointment.
So moved.
There we go. Mr. Vogel, Trustee Vogel, you can make the motion, and Trustee Vito can have the second. Thank you.
Sure.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Raffato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. I have a script, and all I have to do is follow it, and I can't even do that. Do we swear anybody in?
No, she'll be sworn in at the the next Board of Health meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. Citizen concerns and comments.
Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding issues relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to speak, I'm sorry, I'm having an issue here. Who wish to speak to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. I'm probably going to say your name wrong. Ms. Naglia?
Just as a reminder, this is a time for citizens to make comments and express their concerns, and for the boards to listen. Neither the board nor staff will be answering questions. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick, brief summary. I live in the village of Wheeling for about 20 years. And recently we acquired another property, became a homeowners at Tahoe village. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. The unfortunate situation with that I'm going to ask your attention or resolution or whatever it is, took my time to get to the board, so it's really bothering us, is parking. So the unit is having the carport that's located on the side of the building. I do have photo pictures to address all this so you'd have visual in front of you, but I'm not sure how to, in COVID times, how to do that. So
You could
maybe
give
I'll
those
just
to
leave
the
it with
clerk. You can give those to the village clerk.
Yeah, okay, Elaine, I'll give it to you after I'll speak, and then you could look at it. So that's the entrance to the unit looks like, okay? So this is the only entrance, concreted. This is the carport, okay? So it's on the side of the building. The way you enter the unit of yours, you basically go either through the street, which it's a main street, Tahoe Circle, or you have to jump and go through the bushes and through the mud and through the neighbors and everything else. So the way people parked, because the street parking is allowed the way it is on the very same side where the entrance of ours meets the street. So the way it is, the cars might park in the manner that they absolutely, totally block the entrance to the unit. When we speak about a winter time, fall time, dirt, snow, ice, it's really inconvenient. Think about the garbage pickup. We pull out the garbage, we sometimes don't have a space to put the garbage can. This is a winter time, okay? So this is all ice, and the cars parked in that manner that they do not leave the space between the cars to pull out and put the garbage can out. So for that reason, we didn't have our garbage picked up a couple of times. Imagine the emergency services coming in, which I had a couple of times, the delivery, any appliances, any vent services, you want vent services, and they come and there is a blockage from cars, it's like a wall, so they cannot really do anything because it's not enough space. So the question that not the question, I want to ask you to review the parking situation, and maybe I was in touch with James Albert here, and he said that he cannot do anything. So basically, the way the parking is there right now, that's just going to remain like that. Also, I know the parking is allowed for no more than 2 weeks. Cars are parked longer than that, so they just stay there, and it's a convenient spot. So convenience of parking creates inconvenience for the residents. There are 4 units in there, and just a sign that would say do not block the entrance to the unit. That's all it is. That probably would solve the problem because they can park, it's not a problem. It's not bothering us if it's parked not blocking the entrance to the unit. If it does, I have seniors in the house that barely can walk as is. And imagine if they have to not use that concreted entrance, but they have to go around, and when it's dirt, when it's mud, when it's snow, it's pretty inconvenient for them. And it's, I think, needs a little bit of revision, and I hope for your help in there, because there is space to move these cars, there is space to probably move it to the other part of the street, which is not gonna affect anybody else's living. There is a probably mean to put, like, we're talking about the space from the corner of that street, probably about 50 feet, I'm sorry, and maybe like no parking from here to corner would do it too, because there are only 4 entrances to the unit, there are only 4 units in there. But if it's not possible, then do not block the entrance to the unit would probably help a lot. That's all.
Thank you.
And Elaine, hold on one second, I have
Thank you,
my...
ma'am.
I have a paperclip.
And I've been on numerous occasions contacting the association, obviously. They said it's nothing they can do, it's not within their authority. So. All right.
Thank you.
And, if you will excuse me, my son has a work call, I have to leave now. And how does it go from here? I can go?
Well, yeah, you can go.
I'm okay to go. How do I know the results?
I'll poll the board at the end of the meeting, and somebody can,
Well, there's more to this that I'm not sure
Yeah.
a poll is going to solve it. So I can provide the information to the board and to the resident.
Okay, John, how do we do it? Do you want my email,
We're not,
phone number, or
We have it,
you have it?
yes. You were in contact with
James
Sergeant
Albert?
Albert. Right.
Yes, and there is an address on that.
I have your phone number.
Wrote that address, and Joe Vito has my email address as well. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
anyone else?
That's it.
Consent agenda, Clerk Simpson, we have no staff reports.
Number 11, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing change order number 2 to the construction contract with WB Olson Incorporated for the demolition and construction of new Fire Station 23 in an amount not to exceed $15,756. Item 11B, resolution approving the purchase of 1,200 tons of road salt from Cargill Incorporated, Salt Road Safety, through the State of Illinois Central Management Services Joint Purchasing Program municipal contract in the amount of $50.75 per ton and an extended minimum purchase amount of $60,900 in FY 2021. Item C, resolution approving change order number 1 and reducing the final contract amount with Chadwick Contracting Company for $118,891.07 to $104,617.72 for improvement to certain village-owned parking lots.
Thank you, Christensen. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion trustee Lang, second trustee Kruger.
Sure.
Was that Papantos? Did I screw that up again?
No. I didn't get it all the way out because I thought I tied with Jim.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papanto?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. New business. Item A.
13A, resolution approving change order number 1 and reducing the final contract amount with Neri Construction Company Incorporated from $955,000 to $506 to $881,085.13 for the Dunhurst Storm Sewer Improvement Project.
Mr. Burke. Doesn't seem like it should take much of an explanation.
Essentially, this is the end of the Dunhurst Storm Sewer Improvement Project with John Neri Construction. The change order is a reduction in the contract by approximately $74,421. Essentially, that change order was created for a couple of factors. NICOR relocated and adjusted gas services to all the residential homes at no cost to the village. This resulted in a savings of replacement adjustment of long water services as well by $32,000. Also, replacement adjustment of sanitary sewers was reduced by $28,200 approximately, and the remaining $14,000 was other miscellaneous items. Primarily, contributing to that was the tight overseeing of the resident engineer and village employees, village public works employees.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments from the board? We have none. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion trustee Kruger, second trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Item B.
Item B, ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a previously bid contract for the purchase of a truck-mounted HydroExcavator Vac-Con model VX312LHE/1100 in the net amount of $406,778 from EJ Equipment Incorporated in FY 2020 and declaring as surplus and authorizing the trade-in of personal property owned by the Village of Wheeling.
Mr. Spondelis.
Thank you. Typically, this item would have been on consent, but we wanted to take the opportunity to talk about this particular piece of equipment because it is absolutely an advancement for the Department of Public Works, and I wanted to make sure that the board had a real understanding of what it is we're buying. It is an expensive piece of equipment, and Interim Director Burke will walk us through. There's even a little video we can show you. It's an expensive piece of equipment, but I wanted to highlight the fact that we were able to pay for this piece of equipment by getting rid of old technology and replacing it with new. So none of this money is new money. There's no request for additional money in order to fund the purchase of this equipment. It is being paid for through existing SURF monies. And we're doing that by, again, getting rid of old equipment and replacing it with new. This is new technology. It's a HydroExcavator. Typically, you all know how a hole is dug. This uses a water jet that you will see in the video. It's an interior video, and I think that helps to highlight the fact that this piece of equipment is that precise and that safe, because our two issues are always that we want to make sure that when we're digging exactly where we want to be, right, and that we're being as safe as possible. So I think the video is a little bit self-explanatory. I just wanted to introduce this, again, with a little bit of bragging for our department, Superintendent Wolfgram and Superintendent Spratt. This has been ongoing for probably a year. We've been going back and forth about this technology and how we can bring it in-house and what we can do to pay for it. So it is to their credit, and of course Interim Director Burke's credit, that we were able to figure that out without asking for any more money. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Burke.
Thank you. I just want to say greetings. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Marty Burke, and I am the Interim Director of Public Works. I'm very honored to serve the village in this capacity. Just a few notes before the PowerPoint is running all the way through. I just wanted to emphasize, as I think the manager just did, the process has resulted in the recommendation that we're making tonight is the accumulation of many months of intensive staff review and research. The review process began as a recognition that a more efficient way of performing excavation that was becoming a private sector standard and widely accepted in Canada could be utilized in the United States, both in the private or public sector. While powerful machines already existed that had traditionally taken on various excavating tasks, the newer method we are discussing is safer for operators and property as well as more efficient. While the village had a machine that utilized some of the techniques being discussed tonight and therefore was always on high demand by the utility division, its capabilities are not as powerful as the HydroExcavator, so it was not able to meet the demand without risk of serious damage. As the manager stated, as to the financing of this new piece of equipment, staff utilized the SURF process, as is done with all vehicle and equipment purchases. Since this was a new piece of equipment, so not previously funded, it was Public Works' assignment to determine if other equipment could be delayed, eliminated, or replaced with less expensive equipment. Also, funds can be reallocated to fund this purchase. The most expensive piece of equipment to be eliminated from the SURF by the availability of the HydroExcavator to the utility division was an additional backhaul with an estimated cost of $130,000. Other adjustments to the SURF are listed in your memo. I'm going to go back to the beginning here, I hope. Let's see. Oops, I'm sorry, going the wrong way. So the video in the corner is going to run right through the presentation. Two things we want to talk about: hydroexcavation itself, and also about the piece of equipment that's being recommended. The equipment is called an excavator by a company named Vac-Con. It's a truck-mounted hydroexcavation unit. Why hydroexcavation? We've talked a little with you about this tonight. It's a specialized process for utility excavation. It uses high-pressure water and an air vacuum. It's non-destructive and produces accurate excavations. It decreases the area of soil disturbance. It also increases safety. It preserves buried utilities. It incurs less accidental hits and undesirable consequences from those hits. It eliminates a backhoe and track excavator accidents, which are fairly typical. It makes the work a safer place. Increased efficiency. It lessens the time for repairs. It lessens personnel required for many of the jobs that we do. The heated water allows for and enhances winter operations. It's no surprise it came from Canada, where you're trying to dig through some heavy snow and ice in certain times of the year. We get some of that too. It lessens the need for other equipment, dump trucks being one of the things that we think are one of the pieces of equipment that we're eliminating in this process. Lowering of village liability. More and more, there are additional utilities in our rights-of-way, and sometimes we're not even aware that they're there. They're not properly marked. Some could be old, some could be brand new. This lessens potential damage claims from other utilities. While we typically work out things with ComEd or NICOR, and they work things out with us when we hit their equipment that we by accident, we can work that out between us. All of these new utility companies being mostly telecoms, we don't have those type of agreements. And they're looking to be compensated if we hit their material in the ground. Lessens damage to our own utilities. The village's jetter has been damaged doing work it was not intended to do. As I mentioned, we have a piece of equipment that has similar technology, but not the same. The product, now we talk about the product. The product recommendation is an excavator by Vac-Con. It's a truck-mounted hydro-excavation unit. It's brought to us through a cooperative purchasing contract with a national governmental purchasing group. They've changed their name to Sourcewell. You may know them under another name, was a national purchasing cooperative. The dealer is EJ Equipment, the local dealer, and they're out of Manteno, Illinois, and the staff has had positive dealings with them in the past. So this is a front version, obviously, of the entire unit. It's hard to get a handle on the mass of it till you see this slide. How large it is and how well equipped it is for many emergencies and many types of excavation. Questions if you have them. Also in our audience tonight is Chuck Spratt, our fleet manager, and Jeff Wolgrim, our utility division superintendent, and they'll be here to help me answer questions if you have them.
Trustee Papantos, then Trustee Vogel. Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. What's the timeline or the expectation for, and I guess this goes to Superintendent Spratt, to develop the knowledge for maintenance of this type of equipment, since it's something new for us?
Well, just to say briefly, we've worked on equipment similar to this. We've also worked on equipment that's been supplied by EJ Equipment in the past. We also had essentially training on this equipment as well, running the equipment in demonstrations. But I'll let Chuck add to that if he'd like to.
Yeah, our existing combination sewer unit uses...
Chuck, could you come up, please? Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. We have an existing combination sewer truck that's usually used for catch basin cleaning, and the technology used in that truck is extremely similar to this excavator, but the excavator is more targeted toward the job of just excavating soil and dirt, whereas the catch basin cleaner cleans sludge and other debris out of catch basins. So it's not as heavy duty. But the technologies are very, very much the same, so I don't think we'd have any problem working on it.
Great. What's the expected lifespan of this piece of equipment?
We can set that. This particular, one of the reasons we chose this particular unit is because they extended the warranty on a fan unit for 10 years, which is very good. Usually it's either 3 or 5 years. So I'm thinking 15, 20 years we should be able to get out of this machine.
Great. And then how long before our departments are ready to use it? What's the training module that we feel that everybody can go out and use this equipment?
Well, as the director said, and Jeff, yeah, Dave Earl.
You brought all the right people for me, thank you.
This HydroExcavator, we had taken out into the field, and we actually excavated a buffalo box with it. So the guys that we have in the utility division right now, they're ready to use it. The training that we had the day of the demo was enough for us to begin using it immediately. Obviously, when it gets delivered, we'll get more extensive training, but the operators of this equipment they'll be ready to go. As Chuck had mentioned before, our combination Vector that we have, our Vac-Con, it's similar. So we've been using that to hydro-excavate. So the guys are already familiar with hydro-excavating. It's just that this particular machine is specifically designed for it.
Okay. And when do we expect delivery?
If it is approved tonight, I'm told that they could have it delivered in 2 months.
Pardon me?
In 2 months.
2 months, wow, okay, that's pretty fast. And one more question, are there any other municipalities in the area using something like this?
There is quite a few. I know Naperville, Elmhurst, and I want to say Elmhurst, Joliet, Naperville. Obviously, there's a lot of other states that are using it. Milwaukee, South Bend.
So it has been proven in this area?
Yes, definitely. Just in 2019, there was 268 hydro units sold in 2019. They're saying that the hydro excavation is growing at about 35% a year. I mean, it is going to be the future of excavating. There's just too much stuff buried in the ground right now, and every time we put the backhoe into the ground, we're worried about hitting electric lines, gas lines, and the companies that locate these lines for us, it's just not very accurate. And, you know, one of the things, too, to take away from this presentation is that in the wintertime, when we repair water main breaks, we start to get a frost line, and it's very, very hard to get through that frost line with our backhoe. It takes us hours to chisel away at it. And if we do encounter a gas line or electric line, we're not going to feel it. This hydro excavator has a boiler on it, so it has scalding hot water that comes out of a high pressure wand and basically uncovers these utilities for us as the vac is sucking up the earth. So the risk is minimal to ever hit or damage these utilities with it.
The risk is minimal to damage utilities. What's the risk to operators with boiling water?
Well, the boiling water is we're going to have to be wearing our PPE to protect us from that. Rubber gloves, you know, our Carhartts, face shields, because there is a lot of abrasive that comes up.
But it's similar to a pressure washer that we use to clean the trucks right now. It's
Okay.
basically the same technology.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Vogel, then Trustee Lang.
Yeah, you had mentioned that the funding was a combination of elimination of equipment and delaying the purchases. Do we know how that breaks down?
Well, there's a list I believe, in the memo that's in board docs.
Right, there's a list, but it doesn't tell which is being eliminated and which is being delayed.
Let me see if I can help you out with that. Well, I did mention the backhoe, that's
Right.
being eliminated. Let's see, from the top, the backhoe. The Ford tractor surf accumulation, actually, as it got into the process, that was never going to be used for a tractor, that was going to be used for a dump truck, so one dump truck is going to be eliminated. The trailer-mounted generator is going to be replaced with a smaller generator? A new purchase. Actually, the purchase was already made out of the stormwater management fees. You bought a generator last year, so that's been done. The walk-behind saw has been eliminated. That, we believe, is easily rented if we need it, or a contractor can be brought in for smaller jobs. The Ford chassis cab with the shoring equipment, you'll notice there's something right below that. That's going to be replaced by the new shoring equipment trailer right below that. That's a little more practical for us. We can store the trailer and not have the shoring equipment on a truck dedicated to it. We'll just tow it when we need it, bring it out when we need it. The two pumps, we're going down to one pump. Only one pump will be replaced. And then the van substitute for sewer televising truck accumulation. The sewer televising truck that we had is much, much larger than is needed. So we're going to be replacing that sooner or later, but with a smaller piece of equipment, probably with a van. Because the technology's changed so much, the equipment's much smaller than it used to be. And then the last one is the 5-ton Freightliner. That's being delayed, but it's not being eliminated.
Okay, so the majority is being eliminated. Is this new equipment going to extend the life of any existing equipment?
I think the back.
Because of either reduced use?
It's not going to reduce any use, but what it's going to do is it's going to reduce repair costs. When we use the vacuum, the sewer cleaner to do this work, what's happening is it's not designed with these cyclonic filters, so debris is getting trapped into the blower, and then we've had to replace the blower on a couple of different occasions, which it's very expensive. So that piece of equipment will be just used as intended now, and we're not going to see as much repairs damage done to it.
Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vogel. Trustee Lang?
Stay there, Jeff. So just a quick question on the waste. Is that slurry hard to get rid of, or is it anything that's?
We have a specific area at our south receiving station for this type of debris. So it goes there, it dries out, and then we have a contract with Waste Management and we haul it there.
Got it. Simple enough. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. No other questions? Need a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion, Trustee Papanto, second, Trustee Rufato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. I've seen one of these things work. It's pretty impressive. That's
Thank
cool.
you very much. Thank you.
Item C.
Item C, discussion, major site plan, PUD, concept review, Prairie Park Townhomes.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. As an introduction to this evening's discussion, I just want to go over a couple things. We have formalized this process so that each of these concept reviews look the same. So I'm going to begin simply by reading a disclaimer. I will then turn it over to Community Development Director Ross Clicker, who will do a general project overview and introduce the petitioner. It will then come back to Ross following the petitioner's presentation to handle any zoning special use or site plan concerns, and then we will open it up for questions and answers from the board. At the end of that, I will be asking the following question of the board for their consensus. Is the board in favor of the concept plan for the proposed Prairie Park Townhomes proceeding to the Plan Commission for review? That is the question that the board will be asked to answer. And our beginning statement is, the current request is for a non-binding approval of the proposed major site plan and PUD review. The feedback by the board will be used by the development team as a guide in the preparation of the formal development plan. The outcome of this evening shall not constitute a formal approval or denial of the application. The decision by the board tonight is non-binding and shall not prevent the applicant from moving forward with a formal application. With that, Community Development Director Clicker, if you would, please.
Thank you. Tonight, the applicant, Mark Smith and Justin, right? Jamie. I knew I was going to get that wrong, sorry. And Jamie Smith are here proposing to construct 18 single-family townhomes on an existing lot that was initially designed for a 5th multifamily condominium building within the Prairie Park residential development. With this change, as we discussed, this is a major site plan change. It is also an amendment to the existing planned unit development for Prairie Park. With that, I'll hand it over and they can kind of walk us through the process here.
Thanks, Ross. Good evening, Village trustees, President Horker, Clerk Simpson, staff. Just want to start off by saying thank you for being here, helping Village residents and businesses during these trying times get through everything, and just thank you. It's appreciated. Before you tonight, we have an aerial of the existing last building pad site at the Prairie Park development, originally intended for another condominium building, as you all know. Unfortunately, due to market conditions, it's just not economically feasible. The cost to construct a similar building to what exists there today far exceeds the revenue that would be generated from sales of those units. So what we've brought to you tonight is a change. It's an 18-unit proposed townhouse development. I'd like to start by letting you know that recently we had a Prairie Park condominium board meeting where it was unanimously approved by the association board to essentially change to an 18-unit townhome development on this site. Also at that meeting, every single resident was given the opportunity to voice any concerns, comments, approvals, and every single resident that took the time to speak at that meeting gave positive comments and feedback, which I thought was absolutely terrific, because normally you definitely have someone voicing some type of concern, especially in a neighborhood where these are the people that are going to be directly impacted by this project. Next, we go to the site plan. So here you have 18 units in 2 rows of 3 triplexes in each row, with Prairie Court, as we're calling it, the road cutting through the center, giving you access to your driveways and your garages. So facing the center of Prairie Park, there will be no parking. It is strictly the facade, and I think our architect did a terrific job with the elevations, which we'll get to see in a little bit. Units will be approximately 2,200 square feet of living space, plus your 400 square feet for a garage, and there will be additional storage that's unfinished within each townhome as well. They're all 2 stories. The end units will be first floor master suites, kitchen, living, dining, as well as office, with 2 additional bedrooms on the upper floors. And the center units will have an option. You could go similar to the end units, a first floor master suite option, or the more traditional kitchen, living, dining concept on the first floor, 3 bedrooms upstairs. With the type of demographics and the people that buy within Prairie Park, we really felt that first floor master concept was key to continue with the same flow that we have throughout the existing 240 condo homeowners that are there today. Here you have the north elevation facing the diversion channel, as well as an eastern end unit elevation, which would be closest to the 40 building at the existing Prairie Park. We really wanted to take into account the look of the existing buildings, which is why all the facade, the stone, brick, I believe it's like an ephes material, will match the existing buildings. We also raised the elevation of the stone and brick on the exterior units, where they're going to be more visible to any existing residents or people traveling through Prairie Park Drive. Here you have a western elevation facing what we call the courtyard, but essentially if you paid attention to the site plan, between each triplex there is a 10-foot gap, which not only allows for windows on those end units to bring in more natural light, but it gives greater access to these townhome residents to be able to walk through and enjoy all the amenities that the Prairie Park site has to offer today. We also have a south elevation, which would be facing Prairie Court. So this is where you have access to your garages, driveways, and front door entryways. Here is another western elevation facing one of those courtyards or walkways that I just discussed, as well as the other north elevation, the other row of townhomes facing Prairie Court. So this south elevation would be what you see from Prairie Park Drive and what most existing homeowners or anyone traveling through Prairie Park Drive will see. Once again, we raised the elevation of the stone and brick. We felt bringing it up to the roof line would be beneficial with a little differentiation. I know staff had talked about just sticking with the banding before that you see on the existing buildings, and we're obviously willing to work with staff to get it to look just right, but a lot of time and thought did go into this to really nail it so that it fits in with the existing buildings. And here you have another end unit elevation facing east. Once again, this would be what is facing the exterior towards the existing buildings at Prairie Park today. And that's pretty much all I have for you, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. So with that, I did just want to bring up, you were provided a concept review checklist from staff. I did just want to bring up some of the zoning and special use and site plan conditions that we felt needed to be highlighted. Yes, this is a townhome development in the middle of a condominium development. That is a concern that staff has addressed. We've had discussions with petitioner, and we believe we can get to some form of amicable solution to that, but there, a two-story townhome next to a seven-story building at first was a little bit of a shocker for us to wrap our head around. But we can get there, as the petitioner said, with some additional tweaking, if you will. Engineering does have some, again, this is a very conceptual review, so they have not done a full review, but they have brought up some issues that will need to be addressed if this plan goes forward to preliminary and final design, along with fire department regarding access around these units. But those are some of the major concerns, as I mentioned in my brief intro, that this is an amendment to an existing PUD, and as such, that PUD would need to be amended, and all the appropriate regulations and agreements would also need to be amended to allow this.
Done?
Yes.
Okay. Our turn? Thank you. Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. How many owners were present for the board meeting and spoke out?
So it was a Zoom meeting. I don't know the exact number. I'm sure I can find out. In terms of speaking, I want to say it was probably 10 different unit homeowners. I live there. I speak to residents all the time. I have 2 or 3 that are actually looking to purchase these if they are able to move forward, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback. I actually live in one of the buildings closest to this building pad.
Why would they want to leave their condo and go into a townhouse?
Some of them want larger space, to be honest. I have one lady who looked for years. She bought a smaller 2-bedroom unit. She sold it. She bought a bigger 3-bedroom unit, and now this came out. She's looking for even more space, even though she's a single lady.
Okay, because most people go the other way.
We've had people at Prairie Park that have bought 3-4 units over X amount of years, whether that's for different family members or themselves. Some of them, have actually downsized from a 3-bedroom, realizing they no longer need something that large, or, as I just told you about the one individual, she actually went bigger twice.
So once this takes fruition, what do you think overall? I mean, 10 unit owners and your board is a pretty small percentage of the population. How do you think they're going to react?
I think as long as it looks right and fits the building facade, I think they'll be very happy. They want to see a completed project. Right now, you've got essentially a low area that kind of fills up with water when there's too much rain, and a transformer just sitting in the middle of that pad. So a lot of them are excited to see it done. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, especially in my building or the 40 building, which are the 2 on the north side directly next to this pad, they're actually happier that townhomes are there, because now their views for the 100 building to the east or the 40 building to the west will be unobstructed with a 2-story structure as opposed to a 7-story structure.
What's the view going to be like for the townhomes?
So the One's facing, so the nice thing is you do have open southern exposure, so though they are in between 7-story buildings, the south is completely open, so they're only going to be shadowed super early, super late in the afternoon, so they will get all that natural light. The units the units closest to the south will have beautiful pond views. They're first floor master suites. Their open kitchen living dining concept, as well as one of their bedrooms upstairs, will face the center of Prairie Park, the pond, which the views are phenomenal. And the other row will face to the north, the diversion channel, part of the Park District land, and then part of the 17-acre parcel next to it.
Can you go back to your north elevation on the slide, please?
So this is the north elevation facing the diversion channel.
One before that? The slide before that? No.
So here,
It was the slide that showed the garages?
oh, okay, the other north
South elevation.
Here you go.
That's it.
So this is the north elevation facing Prairie Court, which would be the new street that would go right through the middle of that pad.
Okay, so how
So-
many garage doors am I looking at?
So here you have, it's a triplex, this is 1, 2, 3. We can combine, if you see the 2 in the middle are split, those can be combined. Obviously, this isn't final, but these are 3 separate units, and they both have 2 parking spaces.
And then is that an entryway?
Correct, so that is the entryway for the middle unit, and the end units, the entryway is actually around the side.
So they're on the side?
Correct.
So visitors just have to walk to the side now?
You walk up, there is some parking, additional parking on Prairie Court, but if, let's say you pull up to your friend's house, you park in the driveway, you walk along their front sidewalk like you would walking up to a single-family house, entrance is right on the side. I did submit floor plans, but obviously for a concept review.
And I understand that. I just want to make sure that you're not trying.
No, and that would have
There is
shown
a
you-
driveway for cars to park in front
Correct.
of the garage so that people have
Correct.
guests, they have a place to park.
If you look at the, correct, and if you look at the site plan, it's tough to tell, but like you can see the driveways here, and those lead up to the garages that you saw on the north elevation here.
And I'm going to assume, don't expect the condo market to return?
It's not that the condo market isn't there. Units, I mean, my wife deals with over half of the resales at Prairie Park. Units are moving, the prices are great. The problem is the cost of construction. Unless prices in condos go up 30 to 40% anytime soon, which probably isn't going to happen, there's no foreseeable future of constructing a condo building on that site. The cost of this type of construction with caissons, steel, precast is just far too expensive. So you'd have to do a completely, essentially cheaper building, and it just wouldn't work on that site.
No, not at all. So what's the difference of cost of construction for the condo building to?
Significant. It's wood construction is much less expensive than, and that's not my background, but it's significant. The economics work for this. They do not for condos.
And you mentioned water. Is that going to be a problem as far
No,
as?
so the site does, I mean, it's a low area right now, which is why I said water builds up, but we have all the comp storage and detention already necessary on site. The parcel that we have to the west is 3.5 acre feet extra of comp storage. We've got plenty of detention and comp storage.
I understand that, but what about drainage so that?
Well, it'll all be done. I mean, the engineers deal with that, but we're not concerned at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Kruger and then Trustee Ravato.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Smith, thank you for coming. Good presentation. Trustee Papantos asked my questions about your condo meeting. You said there were roughly 10.
I believe, I'm not positive. I should have wrote it down. I can find out for you.
That's okay, but how many people actually
There's
live there?
240 homeowners total.
That was helpful for me to understand if 10 was a lot or a little.
Well, you have to, a lot of
It
people,
was-
way more people than that were on the meeting. That was how many spoke.
Okay.
And obviously, some people choose to, some don't. I'd say that's probably the average that speak at any given condo meeting.
Great. I kind of agree with staff. I'm sure that it was a little culture shock when I got my packet and I went townhomes in the middle of condos, 7 stories, 2 stories. It's going to be a little different. So I was really pleased and grateful to hear that you will work with staff to work with the design elements of that. Because
Absolutely.
I would like to see that blend
So
so that it makes that a whole community. you know?
So one thing I do want to add to that, and I should have said it earlier, the existing clubhouse on the site, if you've driven through there, which I'm sure most of you had, fits absolutely beautifully. It's actually 26 feet high. It's single story. It's in between a 5-story and a 7-story building. It's roughly the exact same distance between those buildings that the proposed townhomes will be between the other two buildings. These townhomes, the roof line is actually 30 feet high. And as you see here, that's uniform across that whole row. Whereas the clubhouse, it's only that high at the center, 26 feet, so it's actually shorter. The ends are actually about 10 feet shorter than that. And it looks good. I honestly believe that differentiation sometimes is a positive and not a negative. So we wouldn't have spent all this time and effort going through this and the design that we went with without thinking that this was a home run on that site.
And the residents of the townhome community, they will have the same amenities and be part of the
Correct. They'll
Prairie Park?
probably have their own association, but then be under an umbrella association with the whole. The one difference is their utilities will be metered, whereas currently at Prairie Park, your utilities other than electric are included. But because of that, the assessments will probably be a little bit lower on the townhomes than they are, say, a 3-bedroom, 2,200 square feet condo, because they're going to have to pay their gas and their water bills separately.
So back to your plan that showed the site plan, so basically each building is 3 units?
Correct.
Got it. That's about all the questions I had. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. Trustee Rufato?
Thank you. Trustee Kruger asked, I was going to ask about the homeowners, the association and the amenities. But to that, there's not a lot of green space in this area. So what can you provide?
So the walk up to the south is approximately 14 feet, so that space will be grassed. There are trees that are existing there. Some may have to be moved, but we will plant trees where necessary, and we're willing to work with staff on that. Regarding the row on the north, we're absolutely, in staff notes, they had mentioned, evergreens or something of that nature. We're absolutely willing to work with them to provide something that we feel works best for shielding the property to the north and what's going to look right on the site.
Okay. And then you indicated, I believe you said that the Prairie Court, there would be no parking.
No, I was talking about Prairie Park Drive, which is the existing road furthest to the south.
So you've taken into consideration guest parking?
Correct. So we have land banked. I can. We do have land banked in this corner and this corner as well. As we go through with staff, if we need to add more parking spaces, we can. There is, I believe, 8 guest parking spaces located. 2 here, 2 here,
Okay.
2 here, and 2 there, I believe. But we're willing to work with staff if we need to add additional guest parking on that land banked in those corners. We can absolutely do that. And then each resident does have a driveway, which provides for 2 extra parking spaces as well.
Okay, great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. No other questions or comments? Mr. Spondelis.
Thank you. The village board is being asked to provide non-binding feedback to the developer. The developer may choose to move forward regardless of the board's feedback. Is the board in favor of the concept plan for the proposed Prairie Park townhomes proceeding to the Plan Commission for review?
Want to do a roll call, or?
Please.
Clerk Simpson.
It's not really a vote, though?
It's just like
consensus,
everybody's,
just consensus.
you want me to just ask? You're less official? Still the same.
No, I understand. It's still the same, just not, you're not voting, just a consensus. It's not an official action in any way.
Do we want to see more? Do we think it has merit?
Sending it to the Plan Commission.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk Simpson, we have official communications. You have something you absolutely need to say.
Okay. Early voting started today and runs through November 2nd. The Wheeling location is at the Indian Trails Public Library, 355 Schoenbeck Road. Early voting hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you haven't registered to vote, you can register at one of the designated grace period registration locations. Go to www.cookcountyclerk.com for locations. Please bring 2 forms of ID, one with your current address. Halloween trick-or-treats on Saturday, October 31st. Although trick-or-treating is discouraged by the CDC this year due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19, the village will have regular trick-or-treat hours on Halloween, October 31st, which is a Saturday, from 3 to 7 p.m. Residents who wish to welcome trick-or-treaters to their homes should leave an outside light on. Participants are asked to take measure to distance from other groups and wear a facial covering. If the light is not on, please don't ring the doorbell. The Wheeling Police Department is hosting Ghouls Are Out curbside trick-or-treat pickup of ghostly goodies on October 31st from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Village Hall parking lot. Goodie bags will be handed to participants in their vehicle. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time today.
It's all right.
To participants in their vehicles.
Ghastly or ghostly works good. It's fine.
That's all I have.
Ghastly, ghostly.
It's Halloween. Anyone else have anything? Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, I am an early voting election judge. The wait time at Indian Trails Public Library today was anywhere from 2 hours, 2.5 hours, up to 45 minutes. So be prepared to stand in line. Please wear a face mask. We're moving people as quickly as possible, but it's the best we can do. If you asked for a mail-in ballot and you want to vote in person, please bring the ballot with you. It makes it go much faster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. We do have an executive session tonight.
We have approval of bills first.
Trustee Vito, I think Trustee Vito had.
Approval of bills?
Yes.
Trustee Vito.
Sorry, Trustee Vito.
It's really not village business, but it's pretty cool. I saw on Facebook, and I'd like to congratulate Park District President Sue Stein, who hit 2 holes in 1 this year at Chevy Chase on the 6th hole. That is amazing. I have never hit the green on the 6th hole. Trustee Lang can testify to that. So to get 2 holes in 1 is just absolutely amazing, and I want to be retired so I can get better like she is.
That's very cool, thank you. I actually have something, I don't have the exact number, and I didn't think we should talk about it without the exact number, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Through the village's diligent filing of papers to the county and state in pursuing whatever might be available as a result of restrictions placed on us by the county and state, but then going after the money, we got a little over $600,000 back in CARES funds.
Correct.
It's not, it's certainly not, it doesn't greatly offset the impact of the pandemic on the village, but it helps. And I would just like to take this opportunity to really thank you guys for pursuing this money and the resources that are available to us to help offset it. I mean, there were a lot of restrictions placed on us by a lot of upper levels of government, and this was just about the only thing we could do to offset that.
Thank you.
That was polite enough. I didn't defend the county. Who cares? We're going to do the bills now. You have before you the bills for October 1st through the 14th, and I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second, Trustee Kruger. Motion, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Now the executive session. We do have an executive session this evening to do with collective negotiating matters. I have to read that like it reads. So the motion for this evening is I need a motion to recess into executive session and adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, trustee Papantos, second trustee Rafato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. That takes place here? So we do, because of social distancing, we have to play our games here, so you guys all have to go. Regular meeting adjourned.